Good morning, good evening, everybody. Hello, I'm Dr. Asavari Manvikar. I would like to introduce and welcome all of you to CAR Global Webinar Research Series. CAR, Council for Ayurveda Research, is an international non-profit organization based in USA with a sister chapter in India. By the name of Ayurvidya Anusandhan Abhiyan Foundation, AAAF. Our mission is to encourage, educate, and facilitate basic clinical and interdisciplinary research in Ayurveda. Our vision is to promote and establish Ayurveda as an evidence-based science globally. You can learn more about us at www.ayurvedaresearchusa.org. Please do consider joining us as a member, which will bring you access to all our resources. No nonprofit can operate and succeed without the volunteers. So we would love you and your participation. Please consider joining us as a volunteer. We can plan you based on variety of projects, based on your interests, your skills. Once again, our website is www.ayurvedaresearchusa.org. Now let me introduce to our platinum sponsor, Komal Herbals. It's a company based in Pennsylvania. It is focused on all the concepts of Ayurveda and the power of using healthy herbals and natural products. Komal Herbals work hard to find premium ingredients for their herbal formulations. They also source spices and herbs that are sustainably and organically grown around the world. For more information, go to komalherbals.com. Now let me introduce to our eminent speaker today, Dr. Vishnu Bawane. He is MD in Prasuti Tantra Stri Rog, PhD, EMBA in Healthcare and Clinical Research. He has also diploma in Yoga, DYA PGDCR. He serves as a professor and HOD, Department of Prasuti Tantra Stri Rog, BR Harne, Ayurvedic Medical College, Thane, Maharashtra. He is a national convener, NEMA Teachers Forum. He is a former member, Maharashtra Council of Indian Medicine, MCIM. He served as MCIM from 2015 to 2021. He is an expert committee member, Paramedical Maharashtra, State Board of Paramedical Education and Examination. He served as a member of Board of Study at D.Y. Patil deemed to be University, Nerul, Navi Mumbai, 2012 to 2014 and 2020 to 2021. He is a Vice President, Palmfly Foundation. He is also a Vice President of Prakruti Foundation. He served as Organizing Secretary World Ayush Expo and Arogya in 2019. He received International Excellence Award at Malaysia for research in field of Ayurveda from Tathagat Ayurved Sanstha, Pune. He achieved Vagbhat Award for Excellence in Teaching in 2013 by APNA, USA. He also achieved Young Research Scientist Award for Invention, Research, and Propagation of Biopachar Therapy, External Therapies at Dubai. His book on management of Asthenozoospermia with Ayurveda was published from Germany in 2011. He published booklet on Karkarog cancer in 2018. His another book, Rajaswala, a book on menstrual health and hygiene, was published in the World Ayush Expo 2019 in Navi Mumbai. He is an editorial member, International Journal of Research in Ayurveda and Medical Science, IJRAMS. He is also editorial board member at Ayurlog, National Journal of Research in Ayurveda Science. He is executive editor of International Journal of Indian Medicine. He is an executive editor of Vedayu Ayurved magazine. He has participated in more than 25 live public awareness programs on television. He has presented, published many research papers, chaired many scientific sessions, delivered lectures in the national as well as international conferences. Let me welcome Dr. Vishnu Bawane. Let me hand over this mic to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Asavari, for the introduction. I'll share my screen. Is it visible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. First of all, I bow down to Lord Dhanvantari, God of Ayurveda. Namaste to all participants of USA and India. Good morning to the USA participants and good evening to the participants who have joined from India. So our today's topic is clinical management of Asthenozoospermia with Ayurveda. Before directly entering into the subject, we will warm up because it is required to understand the in-depth the subject matter. So it is required. We need to go through the certain references in the classical text. In the classical text of Ayurveda, in the Samhitas, the description of infertile male is mentioned like this: Achaya kasya nishpalasya yata drumaha anishta gandhaschekasya nirapatyastata narah चित्रदीप सरह शुष्कम धातुर धातु सन्निभः निष्प्रजस्तृणपुलीति मंतव्यः पुरुषाकृति. It is mentioned in the Charak Chikisastan. So the meaning of this Sanskrit verse is: a childless person is a loner like a forlorn tree in a forest, which has a single branch, which bestows neither shadow nor shelter, and has an offensive odor. Second description is: it is like a sketch lamp. The sketch lamp cannot give the light. We all are aware that. And the third description in that verse is: it is like a statue. A statue looks like a human being. It is known as a Trunapili in Sanskrit, but it is not like a real human. Likewise, a man without erotic lust and virulent semen, means sperms, cannot have a progeny. This is a description of an infertile male in a Sanhitas or classical text. So after this, we'll try to understand the certain terminologies because it is required to understand the subject. A subtle differences between the three terminologies. Many a times these three terminologies are considered as synonyms, but actually they are not synonyms. If you look at the first terminology, Shukra, which is one of the seven dhatus like Rasa, Rakta, Mas, Asti, Majja, and Shukra. Shukra is the supreme dhatu, it is the seventh dhatu. So Shukra is used or should be used as the uh, as it should be considered as a Shukra, the terminology which is the seventh dhatu, and essential in both male and female. The presence of Shukra is in both male and female. And the second Virya. Virya is a guna. Anumana Gamya Bhav. It's Anuman Gamya Bhav, Virya. And the Retas is actually a semen. So there is a subtle difference between three terminologies, but definitely a difference is there, which we need to understand. If you look at the this diagram, you will come to know, you will get the clarity. Shukra is nothing but a nucleoplasm. Genetic, it deals with the genetic factors. Virya, psychoneuroendocrinial axis, means potency. It deals with the potency. And the third word is the retus, is actually a semen, which deals with the fertility. So these are the modern correlation of these terminologies. Now let's understand the Shukra karma, the Sarvadahik Shukra. There are two types of Shukra, Drushya Shukra and Adrushya Shukra. The Sarvadahik Shukra is Adrushya and the semen is Adrushya Shukra. The Sarvadahik Shukra is responsible for what? For the various biological and physiological functions described below. So you can consider the existence of Adrushya Shukra with the functions. And what are they? They are dhairya, fearlessness, shaurya, bravery. I kept the Sanskrit terminologies as it is because Ayurveda is a science, and we need to understand the science in the language, and we need to understand the terminologies in in uh, in the terminologies mentioned in that science. Otherwise, we won't get the proper knowledge of that particular subject. So it is required to understand the terminologies in that particular, the mention in that science only. So shaurya, bravery. I have translated in English, but uh, it is it is not exactly the same meaning, but we can at least come to that conclusion that we can correlate with the modern terminologies. So second is the shaurya, bravery. Chavana, forceful and copious ejaculation. Preeti, love, passion, erotic attraction towards female partner. Dehabalam, strong enthusiasm and a good strength of the body. Prasannata, equipoise, contentment. Harsh, feeling of recopulation. Vijartham, for the production of embryo. So these are the biological and physiological functions described in the classical texts. So on the basis of these karma, we can correlate the Sarvadahik Shukra with this biological and physiological function. Correlation, modern correlation. We try to correlate, but uh, the correlation may not exactly the same. But for the understanding of this, for the better understanding, we have put this terminology. First, in the first, we will deal the description of a Shukra in the first column and the representing modern part. First is the Paurusham, virility. Virya, potency. Bala means power. Indriya is the factor of life. All these description of all these words which are mentioned in the classical text, it represents androgens. Androgens, it is a modern counterpart. Then Ananda Samudbhava. It is born out of the pleasure. Second terminology is Retas, ejaculate. Tejas, shining, resplendent. Rupa, Dravya, ejaculated part of the Shukra. So we can correlate these terminologies with actual semen, Drushya Shukra. And the third one is the Rupa Dravya, factor responsible for progeny, Bij, which is known as seed, Punsattva, fertility factor. We can correlate with this sperm. So this is a correlation of the Ayurveda terminologies with the modern counterparts. Now, the thousands of years ago, this Ayurveda evolved. That time, no modern technologies were available, but still, their the their clinical knowledge their wisdom uh, was, we cannot compete with their wisdom and their knowledge. It was extraordinary, but I could say that we fail to understand. Sometimes we fail to understand. We sometimes fail to interpret, to decode the knowledge mentioned in the Samhitas. So that time, no semen analysis and these modern tools and technologies were available. But still, they try to diagnose. They try to reach the diagnosis with their methodology. So this is the methodology they had developed thousands of years ago to assess the semen parameters, semen analysis. In the modern days, we advise the semen analysis, but Acharya Charak has mentioned 8 factors on the basis of which they used to do the semen analysis. First one is phenyl. Phenyl means frothy. Tanu, thin. Ruksha, dryness. Vivarna, discoloration. Pichila, sticky or hyperviscous. Puti, putrid, pus formation in the semen. Anya dhatu sansrushta. Anya dhatu sansrushta means presence of non-spermatozoa cells. Sometimes blood cells or epithelial cells are present in the semen. Avasad, avasadi, sedimentation. So these are the 8 factors. We will elaborate the slides, these points in the next. The first one is the phenyl. It is very important to understand this methodology, because sometimes we fail to understand, we fail to decode this knowledge, and we totally rely on the modern tools or methodology, and so we could not reach up to the proper diagnosis. So according to me, or it is important to do, to reach up to the proper diagnosis. Treatment part is not, though it is important, but not very much important. It is mentioned. But what is difficult is to diagnose in a correct way. So phenyl, the first point is phenyl. Phenyl means frothy or that which contains froth. So why this froth is formed? With the naked eyes examination, they used to perform this semen analysis. Froth is formed when the surface tension is low. So you can guess, when the froth is formed, the surface tension is lowered. So they used to perform this test with the naked eyes thousands of years ago. Surfactants are responsible for lowering of the surface tension. Surfactants, when present in the semen, they destroy this sperm structural membrane, and hence sperm dies. Why sperm dies? Because when the membrane is disturbed, the leakage of internal organelles happens. It may be said that one may ascertain the presence of surfactants in the semen by quantifying the froth. So, on the basis of the naked eye examination, that when the froth is present, you can reach up to the conclusion that the surfactants are present in the semen, which are harmful to the sperms. So now we can easily reach up to the conclusion with the modern techniques that we can assess the presence of surfactants. But that time this technique was not available. Second one is thin, tanu. So thinness or thickness or translucency of semen is dependent on its sperm concentration. Greater the sperm count, more the density. So by determining the sperm count, one may ascertain the tanutva. On the basis of tanutva, you can reach up to the conclusion that the sperm count, if if the sperm, the semen is thick, means the count is more. Semen becomes transparent, translucent, or there may be less sperm in the semen. Decrease both quantitatively and qualitatively. So here qualitative and quantitative both assessments were done on the basis of this tanuta. Third one is rukshata. Ruksha means dryness. Shishruta says that it is ascertained by the direct observation. So ruksha is that gun which causes dryness anywhere. But here we are dealing with the semen parameters. So dryness in the semen. It is difficult to demonstrate dryness physically in liquid, but it may be demonstrated pharmacologically. The example is given of kerosene and alkali. We will not go into detail. I will just when the alkalinity of the semen is increased, then the ruksha dosh of a reta is increased. And the last very important statement: the pH of semen increases. When this pH increases, it increases in a chronic inflammatory conditions. Next one is vivarna, discoloration. The normal color of semen is said to be spatikab, spatikabam dravam snigdam. That is the color of alum. This is a grayish white. Any deviation from this normal color is called as vivarna or the discoloration. The pathological color are said to be arun when there is the presence of blood, the arun color. Then the Krishna, blackish. It may be due to the hemorrhagic conditions. You can guess the hemorrhagic conditions by merely just observing the presence of black color. When the red color is present, the presence of blood is there, then the color will be arun. When there is hemorrhagic conditions, then the color will be Krishna. But in chronic conditions, pitta yellowish, suppurative conditions, and the shukla milky white. Pitchula, sticky or the hyperviscous semen. This refers to the stickiness or the viscosity. Sushruta says that it can be ascertained by observation and touch. Pichilta can be observed by touching the semen. Even we can touch the semen by using the gloves. So you can feel the pichilta. The pichilta of a reta or the semen may be graded by measuring the viscosity of semen sample, measuring the thread form while glass rod is touched. In a in this modern techniques, the rod is touched or the semen is dropped from the pipette, and they watch the stickiness and viscosity of the semen. So this viscosity is very important factor while dealing with the Asthenozoospermia. Further, there is a correlation between the hyperviscous semen and Asthenozoospermia. Putti, putrid. Putti refers to the putrid smell. Any semen sample giving offensive or putrefied smell may be considered putti gandha. Generally, putti gandha of rhetus may be seen in chronic suppurative conditions, any infective conditions, suppurative conditions of genital tract, or infect if the sample is contaminated, if the container itself is contaminated, then it may give this result. But that time uh, they used to observe merely by the naked eye examination, physical examination, through the smell only, the putrid smell. The you can the panchad nanendriya through the NASA you can reach up to the conclusion that this semen is offensive, has offensive or the putrefied smell. Anya dhatu sansrushta. So with the naked eye, this is not possible to detect the macrophages or epithelial, but you can easily observe the presence of blood in the or the pus, presence of blood, because the blood is a dhatu, rakta is a dhatu. So presence of blood could be easily identified and observed. Avasadi, sedimentation. The property of sedimentation. Some unliquefied or partially liquefied shows the sediment in normal condition. The semen, actually the semen should liquefy within a 30 minutes after ejaculation. But if it fails to liquefy, then a test is performed. A semen drop. You can drop the semen in a distilled water, and such it sinks at the bottom. You can easily observe. It suggests that this semen is having the avasadi property. Now, after going through in detail the ancient technique of semen analysis. I hope all of you will advise the modern semen analysis test. Along with, you will try to observe the uh, this try to perform this test at your clinic also. You can perform in your clinic, or if the students are there and even the teachers, professors are listening to me, they can perform, they can show to the students, and if practitioners are there, they can perform in their clinic. And after performing, they can even they can advise the semen analysis, but they can correlate, so that they won't miss this ancient technique of semen analysis. Very great technique. Causes of Shukradushti. अति व्यवयाद व्यायामाद असत्पानां च सेवनात् अकाले वायप्राणौ च मैथुनो च गच्छत वृक्ष तिक्त कषायाति लवणोम्लो श्न सेवनात् नारीणाम अरसाभ्यां गमनात् जरया तथा चिंता शोकात्. Causes of Shukradushti: excessive coitus, excessive exertion, intake of asatmya ahar. Asatmya ahar means viruddha ahar, you can say. The combination of milk and fruit is mentioned as asatya. Coitus at improper time, coitus other than vagina, long time abstinence. Even the long time abstinence, I have observed in many patients, if there is a long term abstinence, even it reflects on the semen analysis report. That's why we always suggest the minimum 3 to 5 days abstinence period before getting the semen analysis test done. Intake of ruksha, tikta, kashaya, ati, lavana, amla, the sour, pungent, and the dry food, it causes the shukradushti. Old age, impotency, anxiety, sadness, dukkha, sadness, grief, it causes the shukradushti. This is the modern. These are the modern etiological factors. All these factors are covered in this causes of Shukradushti mentioned thousands of years ago. Mental stress, more mental stress, less sperm motility. These are the modern etiological factors. Working in a high temperature zone. While when the patient work in a high temperature zone, it causes the low sperm count. Endocrine and neurological disorders, nutrition and vitamin deficiencies. Vitamin, especially the vitamin A, is related with the fertility. Genetic factors, defects in the structure of flagellum, axoneme, and the cell regulation. Metabolic defect, chemotherapy. If a patient is suffering from uh, any type of cancer, or it harms the quality of sperm and quantity also. Obesity, drinking alcohol, smoking, exposure to heavy metals and other environmental factors. These are the modern factors. We discuss both the factors, the Ayurveda factors and modern factors. Now we are moving towards the our main topic, types of Shukradushti. So these are the types of Shukradushti according to Shushruta. Vatas, Pittas, Kaphas, Granthibhut. I have highlighted this particular the point number 4, which we are going to discuss in depth. Kunapagandhi, Putipuya, Kshina, Mutra Purishagandhi. These 8 factors are mentioned in classical texts by Shushruta. And causing factors are for Vatas, Vata, for Pitta, Pitta, Kapha, the Kapha, Grantibhuta, Kapha, and Vata Dushti is there. These are the causative factors in the pathophysiology of Grantibhuta Shukradushti. Kunapagandhi, Rakta. Rakta is a causative factor. Putipuya, Pitta, and Kapha. Kshina, Pitta, and Vata. Mutra Purisha Gandhi is a 3 dosha. And the prognosis is first 3 types are Sadhya. Granthibhut is a Krucha Sadhya. The prognosis is not good. And the Kunab Gandhi, even the Kunab Gandhi, Puti Pui, and Kshina, the prognosis is not good. And the last one, Mutra Purisha Gandhi, the causing factor is Tridosha, is asadhya. So it is not curable. Types of Shukra Dusti according to Charak: Fenil, Tanu, Ruksha, Vivarna, Puti, Pichila, Anya Dhatu Sansushta, Avasadi. And the causing factor are the for the Fenil, Tanu, and Ruksha, Vata dosha is a causing factor. For the Vivarnata or the discoloration, Pitta dosha is responsible. Puti type, Pitta is responsible. Pichila, Kapha. Anya Dhatu pa Sansishta, Rakta mainly responsible. And the Avasadi is Avaruddha Vati. Dosh is responsible. These are the causative factors in the mentioned type of Shukra Dusti. This is the chart you can easily compare. Now the Shukra Dusti Lakshanas. There are so many Shukra Dusti Lakshanas are mentioned. I will not go into the details. I will just show these slides, and those who are really interested in to understand this subject in depth, they can contact me on my email, or they can contact the organizers. So because otherwise it will be a deviation from the topic. So these are the symptoms, and the Vata, Pitta, Kapha, Rakta, and other dhatus. The dosha dusti is mentioned. So Fenil, Tanu, Ruksha, Vivarna, Puti, Pichil, Avsadi, Krichita, Nila, Pita, Ushna, Putigandha, Dahalinga, Aruna. These symptoms are seen according to the causative factors. These are the Vedas, or the types: Vata Shukra Dusti, Pitta Shukra Dusti, and their Lakshanas are mentioned, and associated Shukra Dusti is mentioned. In the Vata Shukra Dusti, hemorrhagic injury, severe oligospermia, azoospermia, chronic inflammatory accessory sex gland. You can correlate with this. Kapha Shukra Dusti, chronic inflammatory condition. Then we will directly move on to the Grantibhuta Shukra Dusti. The causative agents are Kapha and Vata. Semen becomes Grathita. Grathita means when the Vata dosha rise up the Kapha dosha, it forms the coagulum. It traps the spermatozoa. It arrests the forward progressive movement of spermatozoa, and so it restricts the motility, their forward progression. So that's why I had said that the viscosity is responsible for the Granthibhuta Shukradusti, and ultimately it is responsible for the restriction in their motility, their forward progression. So we'll elaborate this topic. Granthibhuta Shukradusti, the delayed liquefaction. When there the liquefaction, the ideal time is it should be liquefy before the 30 minutes. So the WHO parameters are continuously changing because due to the environment change and the dietary habits, WHO is every 5 to 10 years, the WHO is changing the criteria of the sperm count. Earlier, the around uh, 20 around 30 20 million count in 1992 manual was normal. Now it it comes down to around 15 million. So they are even changing their criteria, but we can change the criteria. It is very easy to change the criteria, but we need to change ourselves. We need to change the lifestyle of patient so that we need not to change the criteria of the semen parameters. So we need to work on this. So there, the wisdom of Ayurveda is really helpful uh, in to arrest these factors, to work on these factors. So delayed liquefaction, decreased viscosity, and the decreased motility of the spermatozoa, commonly found in prostatic dysfunction. When the prostatic dysfunction hampers, you can see the Granthibhuta Shukradusti is seen in such patients, and viscosity is hampered and motility is hampered. This either doesn't contain liquefying enzyme or contains poor quantity causing failure in liquefying the seminal coagulum. If this seminal coagulum fails to liquefy, then the motility is arrested. This is the we can compare the pathophysiology of Ayurveda, the Samprapti of Ayurveda, and the pathophysiology of modern medicine. If you look at the Ayurvedic pathophysiology, Samprapti, vitiated Vata dosha, dries up the Kapha dosha. Vata dosha with its Ruksha guna, its dryness property. It dries up the Kapha dosha and forms the Granthibhuta Shukradusti. That is the nothing but an aggregation of sperms. Astheno means fatigue, and the spermium is the fatigue of sperms. When there is a fatigue of sperms are not able to move, not able to move forward. If there are millions of sperms with you, and if they are not motile, they all are useless. So a motile sperm is required. Motile sperms are required for the fertilization. How many sperms are required for the fertilization? We need only one sperm to fertilize the egg. So qualitative approach is very important. Earlier, even nowadays, the quantitative approach is stress on, because most of the practitioners, they just see the count and they just focus on the sperm count only. Quantitative approach, but we need to focus on the qualitative approach, because we need a single sperm. Even if 1 million sperms are there, quantity 1 million is very less. But if we work on the uh, quality of that 1 million sperm, then then definitely one sperm will reach to the ovum and fertilize it. So this is a Ayurvedic Ayurveda, the pathophysiology of Ayurveda, and the modern pathophysiology, poor prostatic lytic activity. It results in a hyperviscous semen, restricted motility, that is the asthenozoospermia. Now, when I was when I was studying in R.A. Poddar Ayurveda Medical College, which is a very reputed institute in India. So that time I had conducted one study on the 30 patients of Asthenozoospermia, because that time I feel I took it as a challenge. I took it because whenever the patient comes in OPD, everyone was focusing on qualitatively the sperm count, sperm count. Then that time I realized that I need to work in this area. So I started working in this area during my post graduation. That time my this research is granted by Central Council of Research New Delhi also. So what were the aims and objectives of that study? That time to study the efficacy of Palash Ashmabhed Siddha Ghrita. The short form, the abbreviation PASG, I have mentioned because to avoid the repetition. To study the efficacy of Palash Ashmabhed Siddha Grit, I have I had used Palash Ashmabhed Siddha Grit, which is mentioned in the Astanga Hriday, for the Granthibhuta Shukra Dusti. I had correlated Granthibhuta Shukra Dusti with Asthenozoospermia, and uh, before that I hypothetically postulated the theory, but after after the completion of study, I realized that the results were uh, extremely good, statistically significant to determine the efficacy of Palash Ashmavit Siddhagrit in infertile male with oligoasthenoteratozoospermia. To study the complete literature available on abnormalities of sperms and drug Palash Ashmavit Siddhagrit with its individual ingredients, to propose the cost-effective management of asthenospermia. This is not that time, even nowadays, it is not the condition that no modern treatment is available. Yes, the treatment is definitely, the treatment is available, but it is not cost effective. The treatment is so costly. Patient cannot, the middle class patient or poor patient, they cannot afford. So it was that time, it was very important. It was challenged to propose the cost effective management of Asthenozoospermia. The materials and methods adopted were, it was an open uncontrolled study. Study center was the OPD of Srirog Processing Tantra Department, Gynec and Ops Department OPD. Number of patients I took for the study were 30. This is the minimum sample size required for to conduct any clinical study. The minimum sample size is 30. Reference reference is very important. Granthi Garbhavakranti Sharir, Astanga Hriday Sharistan, chapter number 1. Standardization of drug. I got all the drugs were standardized from the Zandu Pharmaceuticals Mumbai. Anupan vehicle use is milk. Milk is aphrodisiac in nature, and the dose is 6 ml twice a day. 6 ml twice a day is given. Kala apana kal before food. Mode of administration is oral, and the duration of treatment is 2 months because to develop a new sperm from the primary spermatogonia, secondary spermatogonia, fully mature sperm, it takes around 74 days. So minimum, I had given this Grita orally at Rasayan Kal in a 6 ml dose with Anupan or vehicle milk for 2 months. Selection criteria adopted as inclusion criteria, all patients with asthenozoospermia, patients of oligoasthenospermia, about 20 years and below 50 years age group, married patients only, obviously. Exclusion criteria was azoospermic patients, patients having any major systemic disease, surgical illness related to inguinoscrotal region, means the hernia, hydrocele, patients with STD and genitourinary tract related disorders below 20 years and above 50 years of age group is excluded, and unmarried patients. Assessment criteria. Assessment criteria. That time I use the WHO manual. Nowadays the 2012 2012 2012 model. The manual is available. That time I adopted this the MacLeod's gradation manual 1990. The gradations are A, B, C, D. Rapid linear progressive motility, grade 4. Grade 4, excellent swift progressive motility. Grade 3, moderate progressive motility. Grade 2, second, struggling progressive motility. Grade 1 is poor sluggish non-progressive motility. And grade 0 is non-motile spermatozoa. This was my assessment criteria. Now the drugs used for the this preparation, this herbal preparation, not a single mineral. It contains not a single mineral. It is totally 100% herbal preparation. Palash. The Latin name is the Butea frondosa. Papilio formulae. Cooler. Shimbicul. Leguminosae cool. Properties. Lagu ruksha. Rasa. Katu tikta kashay. Virya ushna. Vipaka katu. कर्म विषग्न कृमिग्न भेदन यकृत तेजक यकृत it activates, it stimulates the yakrut liver. Doshagnata kaphavat shamak. In the samprapti, in the pathophysiology, we have seen that the kapha and vata are causative agents. So doshagnata of this drug is kaphavat shamak. It is required to break the samprapti. Pharmacological activities: antihelminthic, astringent, antidysenteric, diuretic, aphrodisiac, and antifungal. These are the pharmacological activities of a palash, Butea frondosa. Then with uh, after worshipping the plant on the holy day of Holi, I burnt all those plants uh, with a Vidivat, with all rituals and collected the bhasma. Then my second drug is Pashana Bheda. Palash Pushpa, Palash Beej, Palash Kand, Palash Mu, Palash Patra. The second drug is Pashan Bhed, the Virginia ligulata. Kula is Pashan Bhed, Saxi, Fragacy, properties, Lagu, Tikshna Snigdha, Rasa is Katu, Virra is Ushna, Vipak is Katu. Karma is the Kafan is Sarak. It is required. Shotahar, Mutral, Doshagnata, Tridosha Shamak. And the pharmacological activities are the anti-protozoal, anti-lithic activity is helpful in breaking the that coagulum, anti-spermolytic activity, anti-cancer, anti-lytic, anti-inflammatory, antidepressant, and aphrodisiac. And the Gogrith. You all are aware about the properties of Grita. Clarified butter. Properties: Madhur, Sheet Madhur, Mridu, Slakshna. Doshagnata, Vata, Pitta, Gna. Karma, Smriti Kar, Medakar, Bala, Swara, Varnakar. Grita has got the Sanskaravartan property. Sanskaravartan property means it enhances the properties of the other drugs without losing its property. And Grit is the best. The qualities of the Grita and the Shukra or Oza are similar. So cow ghee, even the cow ghee contains vitamin E, which is the anti-sterility vitamin. Then the Palash Ashmaveda Siddha Grita, Palash Bhasma, one part, cow ghee, four parts, and the Pashan Bhed decoction, 16 part. So these ingredients and proportion is used to prepare a Palash Ashwabheda Siddha Krita. Now the observation and results, occupation wise distribution. The business, the four patients were doing business, six were engaged in the technical work, heavy workers, five vendors, standing workers. If you see that the technical workers were six, office workers five. So occupation wise distribution, all these business and all these occupations, standing works and the heavy workers, mostly they suffers from this disorder because sometimes it has been observed or seen in the long standing workers, those like the city traffic police or other workers who if it is found that they are standing for a long time, it results in a varicose vein, and varicose vein results in a local temperature. The scrotal temperature is raised, and when temperature is raised, it reduces the sperms qualitatively and quantitatively as well. Second, addiction wise distribution. Tobacco, alcohol, cigarette, all those are the known causative factors. So this is the distribution, addiction wise distribution of patient. Then Vata Pitta, Vata Kapha, Pitta Vat, Pitta Kapha, Kapha Vat, and the Kapha Pitta Prakriti. This is the Prakriti wise distribution to patients. Diet wise distribution. 25 patients belongs to the mix, were belong to the mixed diet. 5 patients consuming the veg diet. The socio-economic status. Middle class patients were 15, low middle class 9, and the low class 6. Viscosity of semen. I had stressed upon while discussing the point that the viscosity of semen is important. So we assess the viscosity. Viscosity was wise distribution. If you see the before treatment, and after treatment distribution you can see. This is the effect of treatment on pH, uh, liquefaction time, volume, sperm count per ml, total sperm count, viability, and abnormal sperm. So you can easily mark that there is changes in the graph, line graph after treatment. There is changes in this graph, line graph after half hour. Effect of treatment on motility. In earlier, there was the effect on the pH, liquefaction time, volume, then and the viability, abnormal sperms. In the second chart, there is the effect on the motility actual. RLP, the rapid linear progressive, slow linear progressive, total forward progressive, non-motile. Now, conclusion. The inference was drawn. Conclusion: the Palash, after going through this data, we reach up to the conclusion that the Palash, Pashanbet, or Ashmabet have Vata and Kapahara property. Krit improves the Agni and digestion, hence ultimately helps in formation of pure Shukra Dhatu. Pashanbet contains the necessary micronutrients and amino acids like isoleucine, leucine, methionine, phenylamine, threonine, and the tryptophan, which are required for the motility and viability of sperm, both. The Palash sheet contains the proteolytic and the lipolytic enzymes, which liquefies the hyperviscous semen. This activity is very important. These enzymes are very important and helps in the forward progression of sperms. This slide, Palash seed contains the leolinic acid, which stimulates the sperm concentration and motility. Cow grit contains vitamin E and acts as an antioxidant, which is very important. Antioxidant property is very important. It provides energy. It protects the sperms. As Palash Bhasma is alkaline in nature, the Bhasma is we are not using the Kshara. Kshara is a Sattva Ghatkar, but we are using the Bhasma, the water. We are using the water of that Palash Bhasma only, which is alkaline in nature. It maintains the seminal pH, which is essential for the sperm motility. It contains the minimum herbal ingredients and which are prepared in the ghrita and has no side effect on the Shukravas Srotas. These are the few Rasayan Kalpas useful. We can, along with my study was concerned with this Palasasnobet Siddha Ghrut, and I got very good results. But along with these medicines for the management of these Shukras Vikar, we can prescribe the Chavanprash, Pipali Rasayan, Amlaki Rasayan, Loha Rasayan, Trifala Rasayan, Bhallatak Rasayan, Shilajit, Vanari Vati, Vishatinduk Vati. It acts on the Agni, Vrishyavati, Shilajit, Brahmi Vati, Craunch Park, Haritaki. Haritaki, though it is a Ruksha, it still it is a Klebenashan, Terminalia cebula. Pipali font, loss of libido, if it is given, it is it is for the other disorder, it is not directly related with this, but these drugs are important in the management of Shukra disorders. I have not purposely I have not mentioned the dose because according to the dosha, dusti, bala, and the rugna bal, we have to decide the doses. But these drugs are useful after the proper diagnosis. Again, few useful drugs are the Vanga Bhasma, Abrak Bhasma, and the single drugs Ashwagandha, Musuli, Vidari Kanda, Yastimadu, the Glycyrrhizia grava. Even it acts, it is a very good drug to eliminate the genetic disorder. In the Pratham Mas Kashai, it is given to the pregnant lady. Madhukam Shaka Bijam Paisa Suradarucha. It is a Rasayan drug. It is Rasayan. Rasayan drug is useful to both male and female. Estimadu is a very good drug to eliminate the genetic disorder. Shatavari, Asparagus racemosa, Zatamansi. So these are the useful drugs in the Shukras Vikar. For further reading, I had written one book which is published from the Germany, Munich in 2012, Management of Asthenozoospermia with Ayurveda. A 150-page book is available on Amazon. Those who are really interested to read further in this topic, uh, being a speaker and author, I will not suggest to uh, uh, go for to purchase this book because the cost is around 7,500. But if you need any assistance from me, you can. My email is with the organizers. Even you can contact me, mail me. Definitely, I would like to. I would love to discuss uh, with you regarding this the Asthenozoospermia. Then the final destination, uh, Dahi Handi, in the Maharashtra, in India, particularly in the state of Maharashtra and the Gujarat, this festival now in the next, mostly in the month of August, this festival is celebrated across Maharashtra. So, what it suggests, if this everyone tries to reach up to the destination, the final destination is not possible. Only one has to reach up to that Dahi Handi. So then only it's possible. Otherwise, no one will able to reach up to their final destination. So just like that, the same phenomena about it plays a role in penetrating the oham. In the race of this, uh, if there are millions of sperm in the race of this to reach up to the oham, only one sperm succeeds, and other sperms with the, their tail, they try to they try in their forward progression. They helps to reach up to the target. So I find this image in correlation with um, this race of reaching up to the final destination. I would like to acknowledge the the Council for Research in Ayurveda USA for inviting me as a speaker. I am thankful to whole office bearer, all office bearers of Council for Research in Ayurveda, and special thanks to Dr. Asawari Manvikar, Madam, for inviting me. Thank you very much. This is a take-home message. Be always active. Don't be sluggish. Thank you very much. Madam, over to you.
Excellent presentation, Dr. Vishnu Bawane. It was absolutely wonderful. You started with scientific terminology, correlation with the modern concepts, decoding the information from Samhitas, and the methodology that is used for semen analysis, and then got into the subject. It was such a wonderful, very in-depth and very informative, excellent session. I'm sure all the listeners and everybody who is going to watch this recording will get a lot of information about this very important topic. And it's very innovative. I mean, typically when you look at the sperm, it is always the quantity, what people, or, typically that is what is looked at, but not actual the quality of it. So the work that you have done is amazing. Thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom with everyone. And this recording will be available on our Council for Ayurveda Research YouTube. So please go to our YouTube channel and like, subscribe so that you can watch this recording as well as all our previous as well as upcoming webinars. So thank you so much again. And it was so nice to meet you after 2019. We met in World Ayush Expo and Arogya. Yeah. So it was great to hear you again.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.